You know, I try to interact with a lot of my subscribers, even in dialogue, because I feel like, you know, I love to hear people's opinion in order for me to form a basis of what I need to say or how I need to say it, or if I word it wrong. I love doing it. So I had one of my subscribers. I forgot the name, and if I do, please charge it to my heart. Um, not my head, but anyway, talk about how the difference between the 80s and the 90s, and most of us are educated, and this is 2025. So if I can, subscribers, we're going to go back and we're going to talk about some things. But first, I want to share a little bit of my life history with y'all, if you don't mind. You know, when I was 7 years old, my dad left my mom. My mom was a single mama with 5 kids, with 6 kids. I take that back, 6 kids. And all of us had to take on a role with my mama. You know, I became more the handy person. My sister became one of the cooks. She wasn't a good cook. She a lot better now. And all of us took on roles to be the provider, help my mom, you know, do that. And I was 13 years old, and things are different the way it was then, but I was 13 years old, and back then I used to have to take my mama check. Just let me finish that, because it's going to get interesting. I had to, my mama got paid. She worked at KFC. She worked at night. She used to, on Friday, she used to bring her check home, you know, and sometimes I didn't go to school that day, and I would have to walk to the shopping center, and it was a grocery store called Giants, and I used to take my mama old beat up Social Security card, and the lady knew my mama. She knew us, because sometimes when my mama cashed her check, she used to bring us along. So my mama, we go there and we cash my mama check. My mama check was like two something, sometimes $175. Back then that was a lot of money. And we had stayed in the house, so my mama would tell us, you know, go down to the phone company and the utility company and make payment arrangements and pay as minimum as you can, and all of that. And they actually made arrangements with us, a 13-year-old child. Yeah, yes. And then I had to go. Went to the light place. We did a lot of things that my mama, because my mama worked at night. We did a lot of things, you know. Like I learned how to pay bills. I learned how to count. I learned how to, they used to send us when you wasn't making you wasn't giving the payment, like if it was too high, they used to send you back in the corner to this other room, and you had to make arrangements and stuff, and you had to sign things, and I wouldn't sign my name because I'm a minor. I signed my mama's name, and they took this. Oh man, back then it was deep, but we had to, not only it taught us responsibility, and when I was in school, you know, they taught us things. They figured if you wasn't gonna go to college, that school was for two things. It was prepare you for college. It was prepare you for the life outside as an adult. You either went to college or you went to trade school, but they had programs for both of them. Automotive. I know a lot of my friends became mechanics. Some became police officers. It's other stuff. So they taught us how to drive. They taught us how to be responsible back in the day. So you said, how can Trump infiltrate Project 2025, and it's 2025? You got educated black people. Well, if it's okay with you, subscriber, I want to compare back then, how hard it was back then versus how easy it is now, and why it's more. He could probably do it more now than he would have back then. See, back then And we got to keep it real. If it's okay with you, we gonna keep it real. See, back then, it was unheard of a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old girl or a teenager being pregnant in school, or better yet, being pregnant, better yet, having kids. See, back then, you know, girls were taught to be empowered. We were taught to learn a trade. We were taught to type or do something so that when we get out of school, we wouldn't have nothing to do. See, our schools had a dress code that allowed us to, we couldn't come to school with Daisy Dukes and green hair and all. No, they send you home. See, back then, our parents had taught us how to be responsible. You know, whether you was a single parent or you had a mother and father, you were taught to be independent. You was taught to have a resource. We were taught. Jail, when we met an officer, I don't care how bad that officer was, back then, they didn't have cameras back then. And back then, you know, you had to, you complied, but you went to court and you tried to prove, you know, do your case. Back then, you know, they taught us skills outside, like job interview, how to dress for a job, how to go on an interview, how to sustain a job, all of that. That's what they taught us. Fast forward here. Because see, back then, people were still going to college then, in my era, versus now. Versus more now. See, more now, you have women who are having babies at a high rate. By the time they get 30 years old, their bodies has been used like they 40 and 50. You have women now that are not more worried about going to college and becoming sufficient. They have become a social media hooker, prostitute, because they sit up here, they dance in front of that, and they clap their butt cheeks and do all of this stuff. And you know, somebody told me once, if you're gonna be a hooker, you know, if you know, we was on a subject about clothing and stuff. And this girl said, she told her daughter, if you're gonna be a hooker, be a good hooker, be an expensive hooker. Don't just be giving it away for free cars and bubble gum. And see, today that's what they doing now. They showing their butt cheeks and all of that to get attention. To get attention. They having sex just like they having with men. See, that was uncommon. But you know, that's morally. Let's take statistically. You know, back then, the jails were crowded. Still, they had black men, but they wasn't that crowded. Because, see, black men didn't want to go to jail, see. And back then, in my dad's era, you either went to jail or you went into the army. So, it was a trade-off. But see, now, you men go to jail. You don't, even with the jail resources, you don't learn nothing. You don't get a degree. You sit in there. You're jailing. Yeah, I worked as a correction officer. I speak this from experience. Then you sit up here. You have your mama and her woman, your woman, getting money, putting money on your books while you're entertaining your husband. And the jails are overcrowded. The HIV, STD rate is high in the jail. Many of y'all bringing it out of the jails into the community. That's why it's on the rise now. And you don't learn a program. You're a repeat offender. And half of y'all got felonies, and you can't vote. Okay. Let's take the woman on the other hand. By the time she reached 30, some of them got 2-3 kids. Dad ain't paying child support because he got several kids by several different women. Then you're dealing with the fact that she has to get government assistance. And she's not going to school. She's not taking advantage of any programs, job opportunities, or anything else. All she looking at is the more she have kids, the more the government is going to give her in food stamps. They're going to give her Section 8, Medicaid. She ain't got to do nothing but just breathe. See, that's why they came up with Project 2024, because they had to deal with all brown, not just the Hispanics, because they know Hispanics can't come over here and get Section 8 housing. They know that Hispanics over here can't get Social Security. They know Hispanics over here can't get disability, but you can. Okay, you don't read. Most of the stuff that y'all get on social media comes from folks who just popped up, you like your channel, and don't read. You got folks that talk so bad about the black community that you agree with it. But yet, you don't go to city council meetings. You don't find out what you can do to improve your community. And some of y'all are part of the problem of the community because you raised your kids. Oh goodness, yeah, that was a good one. You raised your kids and you didn't raise them to have an organization. They grew up and some of them start selling dope. They start selling dope in the community. They gang banging in the community, and they the ones that shooting up. And you ain't got a problem with it until they shoot your boy. Then you got a problem with it. Instead of y'all trying to fight crime and find out what you can do, when the person died, you just go get a T-shirt with his face on it. That's education. See, back then, when we had a problem and somebody in our school, in our community, and they was being disruptive, we did this right here. We snitched because we didn't want to live in fear. We didn't know what the police department was until you 80s, 90s, and 2000 children came along. We didn't have police officers like that in our community. They roam the streets, but we very seldom see them. Let's talk about job skills. Half of y'all can't read. You say, well, Samantha, how you know that? I worked in HR. I've seen how you fill out applications, and it ain't just in the South. Oh, I take my word. I've been to several companies. They doing it online. You don't know how to copy and paste a resume. Don't know what a resume is. Don't know how to fill out a basic application. And your penmanship is like, oh my God, it's like a third grader. You don't know how to spell. You don't know how to have references. Then you come into a job. You go into a job interview or a grocery store or a doctor's office or somewhere else. You're smelling like weed. You're smelling like that dope and stuff. You can't pass a drug test. Why? Because you've been smoking dope all day. Ain't nobody told you that, you know what, they do 2 types of drug tests. They do the hair and they do the urine. And then you sit up here, you don't put your money, you're not investing your money in a savings account, a checking account, a money marketing, a life insurance policy. You got the dope man on a retainer. You got him, and he ain't got to worry about getting no money. He know as long as you get paid, he gonna get paid. You got teenage crime. See, back then, I'm gonna go back. See, back then, they called it joyride back then, but y'all carjacking. See, back then, joyriding is when you stole somebody's car that was sitting there parked, and you stole it and you went for a ride. That's joyride. That was a misdemeanor. Now, today and age, now y'all putting guns in folks' face, taking their cars, killing them and stuff. So I think I'm on the right path now. So you're killing folks for their stuff. See, back then, teenagers wasn't breaking in houses like where I'm from. They wasn't breaking in houses like this with guns and pistols and stuff, and y'all justified. I saw a video where this little young boy broke into this woman's house and she shot him. She came home and she killed him. And the teenagers saying, you got to understand, he got to get his school supplies. See, y'all don't want to work at Burger King, McDonald's, or nothing like that. Y'all want that 6 figure. But see, you don't want to go to school for it. You don't want to work on nobody's job to earn that pay. You want to dress nice. You want to bling bling, but you don't want to have a job or responsibility. Half of the men, the average men, ain't even paying child support. Yeah. And the other half got a whole bunch of babies. And some of you women got more kids than anybody I know. By the time you 30, you got 4, 5, maybe 6 kids. But by then, you looking for a man to help you take care of them kids, because them other deadbeats that you had ain't going to show up around. It's just amazing how back then in the 60s and 70s, we were having it hard, but we didn't. We worked. We kind of did things and strive for things, and our reputation, our dignity was intact. But see, it's 2025 now, so you get, what's that old saying? Don't judge me. But see, back then, our parents judged us, and society judged us, and we produced. That's how you hear about all these untold stories of these black folks before you, because they were met with more worse situations than we are today, and they overcame it. They was, segregation, racism, people putting obstacles in their way, but they overcame that. But this 2025, yeah. And then you wonder why. You said, Samantha, why you saying all of this? This the new age. Half of y'all are into PlayStation. You don't read. You're into PlayStation and stuff like this. And y'all got people like Candace Owens and I had to talk to this young girl. She gonna tell me, young black girl, gonna tell me, I'm a conservative. How the hell you could become, what baby, what is a conservative? She said, I just got different views on, okay, all right, okay. Well, I said, I can understand it. I understand it. But you getting food stamps and trying to get disability, and all of that, and you saying that folks should be working when they can't, they saying you should be working. I got feet problem. Well, they ain't worried about that right now. So, let's see now. Y'all got it better than folks that was in the 80s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, some of the 80s. But now, you saying, Samantha, how Trump gonna get, attention for the black votes? Well, he already did. He came up with a shoe. Because you know why? Everybody said the blacks' power of spending money. See, they know black folks spend money. They know we spend money because we got to bling bling. We got to look good. We got to make folks think that even when we broke, we living in a shack. It's people that's in the projects that got better cars. They not saving up for a house. They not saving up for a down payment on a house or getting their credit fixed. No, they got to have that 2020 whatever year it is car parked in the projects of a Section 8. No, you got folks who don't, when they get a job, they don't think about applying for 401k and investment, having them take a little something out of their check, learn how to budget their money. No. They got to go make Tommy Hilfiger. If that's it, is Tommy Hilfiger still there? Anyway, and Gucci and Chanel, they got to have that. See, we ain't teaching these girls how to have a paycheck of their own. Now, we teaching them that if they clap their cheeks hard enough, and if they look like the hoe on the corner, yeah, I said hoe on the corner, then you know what, they get attention because they walking and all they booty butt cheeks out. Don't give no man no kind of imagination or thinking what it's like for her to be like that. No, she already doing it. She giving him a screen peek of what's going on. No, you ain't gotta. No, we ain't teaching them to go get a savings account, keep their credit right, so that they can move up and move out or improve or whatever it is. No. Got clothes that if something happened to them, they can't even sell them to bury them. But that's the point. We got to be all out. We got to go all out, all out. You know, you're seeing somebody that's died and they got this elaborate casket and stuff, and they ain't paid 20,000, 30,000 for it with the insurance money, and then got $5,000 left. But they had to send him out good. Okay. All righty. Yeah. Some of y'all, let's even go back. Let's go back to high school. Can't read. Can't pass an aptitude test. Can't pass a SAT or SAT or ACT test. Then let's go, because we can't be blaming the children without looking at the parents. See, back in the day, my mama is 5 feet. I'm taller than my mama, and now I'm taller than my daddy. Back then, if the school called your mama came up there, my mama had to walk. She didn't own a car. And if my mama had to come up there, if little Leslie had to come up there and deal with you, and she worked all night, or she was off and had to, oh Lord, you were gonna get it. You were gonna get it in that school while she walking, and when she get to that house. But now, that was back then. Now let's take it now. Back then, now, you know, child get in trouble and the parent want to blame the teacher. Teacher picking on her son. She got to go up there and clown. She ain't trying to go to PTAs and find out if her son is not learning social science, or she's not learning the class. Now her main focus is to pass him. She don't care if the teacher ain't teaching him nothing. She ain't spending no time with him to do no homework or to get him some tutoring, or find out, you know, if he got some kind of problem that don't require him to be on Social Security, but to teach him, see if he can get it or learn or whatever it is. Or maybe it's the school, the environment. She ain't finna invest in it. No, she wanna get mad and cuss the teacher out. It's the teacher's fault that her son ain't learning. It's the teacher's fault that he can't read and write. It's the teacher's fault that he coming in up there. And then you got these kids now, they come in with a damn attitude because they mama, you know, they feel like they can't whoop a child, and they come in with an attitude because they talk that mess at home, and then they bring it into the teacher. And then you wonder why folks don't want to teach folks in certain areas and stuff. Yeah, y'all really educated. Y'all taking this education to a whole new level, I tell you. So Trump is saying, don't know your civil rights. You know, you know what, I'm going to tell you something. Back in the day, some police officers have always been racist. It ain't nothing new up under the sun. But today, y'all think it's new up under the sun that this racist cop and everything. But you sit up here and you don't know the difference between complying street justice and court justice. You sit up here and you argue with them, tell them what you want and all of that and blah, 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 blah. Even if you ain't got no license, you're still sitting up there arguing with him. Then when he crack it across your head, then all of a sudden everybody want to do a protest and talk about Black Lives Matter. Speaking of Black Lives Matter, you know, back then we wasn't killing each other like that. But now y'all in a gang, you're killing each other, you're blowing each other brains out. There's more young folks in the cemetery than old folks. You'll be lucky if you get to be my age. And you say, how is Trump gonna handle this? Because he see the trend, he see that y'all are some educated, not educated, educated. You know everything. You don't take part of anything. You don't do anything. You don't vote. You sit here and you're always trying to criticize. You sit up here. Back in the day, I remember when brown was black. It didn't matter where it came from. It was brown. If you're brown, you're black. Soul power, your name. I remember, don't y'all remember that song? Say it loud, I'm black on that proud. Now look at you. See, back then we knew when to unite. Now y'all don't know how to unite. And then talking about we need to have our own. You can't even deal with stuff when now you don't know how to deal with each other, and you don't live in the same house. What makes you think you're gonna be able to live with each other in the same neighborhood? Y'all would turn disrespect, you in turn respect to disrespect, and you in turn dignity into a green dollar. Y'all would do anything for a green dollar. Y'all sell each other out real quick for a green dollar. You'll sell it, everybody. Look at it. And then you wonder why he's taking over. You wonder why Trump is running amok. And it's not because it's 2025. It's because after all these decades of people fighting for rights, fighting for justice, fighting for the equality, and we are the foundations of all civil rights that come after 1960. You mofos still think that, like, just like, I'm gonna put it in the best way. You know, the Bible speaks of grace and mercy. Grace and mercy is helping you with even when you do wrong, that God will give you grace and mercy on your life. But some of y'all feel like right now you don't need grace and mercy, because you know what? Because you can do it all on your own. That you know what happened in the past don't affect you. But I'm gonna tell you something. It's some folks that died so you can sit in that cushion. So the next time you sit here and say that the 60s and the 70s don't apply to you, look at what I just read. Just listen to what I say. And if I said anything wrong about it, the overcrowding of jails with blacks, or how blacks can't read when they're going on an interview, or how, better yet, all you with the women that are having kids and the mamas are competing against the children there, and better yet, where the daddy said, if this is not all true, then you can call me a liar. But I guarantee you, everything that I'm saying right now, you better not say that this is it is 2025, and it shouldn't even be like this. But you Gen X and Gen Zs have made it like that because you know why? Because you took dignity out of blacks.